If you're following aviation content on YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook, you have seen Sarah Daniels. But did you know it was the fear of flying that set her on this path? This actress and former Disney princess is inspiring others as she tries to visit every airport in the country.
Why every airport? Because it's fun. It's fun and I can.
We talk with Sarah about her journey, her most vulnerable moments.
So you're such a big Papa Charlie. I had a partial power loss and I'm headed back to Gallup.
And how One Pink Airplane hopes to inspire future generations of women aviators.
We're going to nail this.
Sarah Daniels is on a mission, and that mission might sound pretty simple at face value. Hop in her plane, fly somewhere new, and eventually visit every airport in the country.
My name is Sarah Daniels. This is my brand new series, and I'm on a mission to land at every single public airport in the United States.
Sarah may be new to being a pilot, but she's been around aviation her entire life. Her grandfather was a pilot, but at 13, she also got a gig traveling across the country acting. This meant flying up to 3 or 4 times a week.
I started performing professionally when I was 6. My first gig was modeling, which is crazy to look back at now because I can't be a model. I'm 5 feet tall. Like, they will not let me anywhere near modeling. So I started out modeling, and then when I was 8, I did my first professional ballet. And then when I was 13, I auditioned for a national tour of Bear in the Big Blue House Live, and I booked it, and I went on tour and was homeschooled. So I toured around the country. You know, we were flying once, twice, 3 times, 4 times a week. And it's surprising that aviation didn't bite me back then, but, you know, I was on planes, going to work as a 13-year-old, and then I just kept doing that. I worked at Disney in my late teens, early 20s. I was a Disney princess for a long time, and then I've just done theater since then, and I moved to New York, and, you know, things have been really incredible. So I do shows around the country. I do shows in New York. Just depends on where they need actors.
So Sarah's only been flying since 2023, but in that time, she's amassed over 700 hours. All this from someone who was afraid of flying and the turbulence. So Sarah took matters into her own hands.
So, funnily enough, it was really bad exposure therapy. I hated flying. Turbulence scared me so badly. And I'm a professional actor for my, day job, I like to say. And I always have to fly for one thing or another. So I said, this can't be the way that my life goes. I can't be afraid every time I get on a flight. This is terrible.
Yeah.
So I Googled way to get, I always would do this. I would Google ways to get over turbulence, right? And one article suggested taking a discovery flight. They were like, you'll get in an old Cessna and you're never going to be afraid of anything ever again. So I said, all right, you know what? Fine, let's do it. So I got off the plane and I called a flight school and I went for a discovery flight, and my heart was pounding the whole time. But it went from nervousness to excitement to, oh my gosh, I think I can do this.
And do this she did. Since that discovery flight, Sarah has gotten her private pilot certificate, her instrument rating, and a commercial rating. But there's something else Sarah achieved as well. An enormous following on social media as she began to share her flying with others.
This is so cool. No one outside aviation knows what this is that we're doing.
Yeah.
I would love to share this with people. So I just started this little FBO series. Let me share the, FBOs I'm going to. And people started to really enjoy it, and it was a slow fade. People love to watch people fly.
Yeah.
But not as much, the on the ground, boots on the ground kind of stuff. So it took a little bit for it to catch on, but then I realized this is such a cool mission. I'm going to try to go to every airport in the United States, and that's what I'm doing right now. Every FBO has a story, and every airport has a really interesting history. They're not just like, here's a strip with whatever, They all have either people or places or structures or just the history of the town, and all of them have something unique to them. It's not just like a shack on a runway,
Yeah.
It really, the people are what make aviation amazing and what contribute to these, the heavy lore that comes with some of these spaces. So we're hoping to highlight, these places that are kind of more in the middle of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
That people wouldn't necessarily see, and highlight, what's going on in like the restaurant scene and like community theater and like what makes these towns so amazing. And so I'm really just trying to highlight that when I visit these small airports.
Sarah was able to make short form content in visiting all these different airports across the country, and she has many more to go.
Today, I'm at Blackstone Army Airfield. Yes, legally.
Something else that Sarah was doing was showcasing her flying through longer form videos. She shared with others her adventures in aviation as she traveled across the country. But with the cameras rolling, she also caught some emergency situations.
Oh. Sierra to be Papa Charlie. I had a partial power loss and I'm headed back to Gallup.
November 123 Papa Charlie, Roger, and I'm going to go ahead and declare an emergency for you just because you are below terrain. Low altitude alert, November 123 Papa Charlie. The MIA in your area is 9 or 1,000. Advise you maintain at 9 or 1,000, and if you could, climb to 10,000. The Gallup Airport currently 2 to 3 o'clock, 7 miles, and just advise Gallup in sight if you'd like a visual approach.
We'll advise Gallup Insight. Would like a visual. I've got about 58% power. I see Gallup. I'm going to try to make it.
If you'd like some vectors to figure it out, just keep me advised. Just be aware of that terrain. Are you in VMC condition?
I am in VMC 3 Papa Charlie.
And the question became, do you share this with your audience, show yourself at your most vulnerable, or leave the footage on the cutting room floor?
It really is important to me to not just share the, wonderful moments and like, oh, look at me and my pretty Cirrus. It's like, this is real life. Like flying airplanes is not just like fun and games, and it's not a joke. It is very serious, and your life is often in your hands. So it was important to me to show the vulnerable side, even though when I posted, I was like, people are going to hate this. But most people have thought it was great, and I did a nice job. ATC was fabulous. They declared an emergency for me because I was only 2,000 feet HEL, which is technically below terrain for IFR.
Yeah.
So it was a pretty sticky situation, and I had no one else on the plane to talk to, so I definitely relied on them, and I definitely said too much, which I cut a little bit out of the video, because I just did not want to be that vulnerable. I was like, there's a point where I have to, let it go. So, I was pretty vulnerable. I posted all of it, but they declared an emergency, and they really talked me through it, and they didn't make me feel silly. And even after the fact, the woman who was on with ATC, and it was a woman, which is awesome, and she commented on my TikTok video and was like, you did great, I'm so glad we got you.
Oh, that's so cool that she commented on it too.
Awesome. Even though so many people are like, this looks like it was faked. I'm like, how?
Yeah.
How? Like, the fear in my eyes, like, I'm not that good of an actor, and if you think I am, then call me, Hollywood.
I should have flown commercial. But I'm okay. I made it in one piece. That's what matters.
As a quick side note, if you have not checked out Sarah's video of her emergencies, I suggest that you do so. It does show that real side of aviation, and Sarah does an incredible job of communicating with air traffic control exactly what she needs and flying the airplane back to the ground. The moments in that video are real, they're genuine, and it leaves an impact on what aviation really is. I can tell you firsthand after meeting Sarah, she is exactly as she is in her videos. She is genuine, she is kind, and she cares about aviation. And I think it's this approach that has caused her to skyrocket and be such an influence on the aviation community.
I get into the plane and I put on a show. I'm like, no, unfortunately, I'm this way in real life, right? So I get in the plane and I just do what I do. I run my checklist, I take off, I do my thing. No clickbait. I'm not going anywhere to make any clickbait. I just get in the plane and I make content. If it's cool, it's cool. If it's not, it's not. I just post it anyway,
Yeah.
But some people like the boring stuff. So it's like, you never know what people are going to like. So I really, really am the same way in videos as I am in real life. And a woman came up and was almost in tears. I was like, I can't believe I'm getting to meet you.
Right,
I got my PPL because of you. That's crazy. But it definitely makes me feel like I need to continue to be as authentic as I have been and continue to, be exactly who I am and not change based on, the wind or how I'm feeling or do clickbait videos. I need to continue to stay authentic so that I can continue to inspire the next generation of pilots.
Sarah is very aware of the influence and the impact that she is having on aviation today. And it's a responsibility that she takes seriously.
It weighs on me a little bit, but in a positive way that I feel like it's so important for Cirrus to put a pink plane out here front and center as a feature plane because, we'll sit here and watch little girls just run up to the airplane. Girls who probably don't care about planes at all, but they're at Oshkosh with their family, and suddenly that plane is for them. And this pink plane is for all of them. And I hope that every gal knows that this is not for me. This is for all of us.
One simple comment, and if you weren't paying attention, you might have missed it. This plane is for all of us. While numbers are increasing, aviation still has a small population of women pilots. And unfortunately, at times, those that choose to get on the internet and share their journey face negativity, sarcastic comments, and even those who question why they're doing what they do.
They put a bright pink plane out front and center at the Cirrus booth. They didn't have to do that. The market isn't this, you know. Women make up like 7 or 8% of aviators, right? So they know that this could be polarizing. But I've watched the effect that it's had. I've watched little girls walk by with their dads.
Just right now.
Women don't, they're here with their husbands mostly. The little girls are here with their dads. Like, there are a lot of female aviators, but those tiny ones that were planting those seeds, they're running up and going, "Mommy, look at that plane. That plane's for me." You're dang right it's for you. This plane is for all the girls out there. And even though pink isn't an inherently feminine color, we've been trained to think that pink's feminine, right? So like having little girls walk up to the plane and take photos. And, I had a little girl, Tallulah, who came up to me yesterday at my meet and greet. She just climbed right on the wing, climbed right in the cockpit. Like she was a little star, and she was moving that yoke around, and I could just see that seed. We just plant it, and, maybe it won't grow. Maybe she'll have someone that inspired her as a kid, and that would be just unbelievable. So it's truly humbling, and I really am grateful to Cirrus for taking the risk of putting this plane out here, and the feedback's been amazing, and it has been so meaningful to me.
So while Sarah is a Cirrus brand ambassador and she's got an amazing airplane, she also is aware that the Cirrus life isn't always within reach for every new pilot. But there are other ways to go after your aviation dreams.
Aviation isn't just this, right? So part of being authentic is being honest, and there are a lot of pathways for aviation that aren't owning a custom hot big Cirrus. And I've realized that this is very, extravagant. And there are so many pathways. There are people who've joined flying clubs, and that's an amazing way to get into aviation. Or, buying an airplane with 4 people, right? So you can buy a share in an airplane. That's what my grandfather did. It's not like you can't just go like, Sarah pays a lot, so I can't do it. Yes, you can.
Absolutely.
Maybe this isn't where you start. Just because, money is a factor, there are plenty of ways to get into aviation. And like join your local 99s, like join your local EAA chapter. There are people out there that are there to help you, and there are so many scholarships out there. I just really want to make an impact, and I'm trying to find out what the best way for that is. But, find people like that who are like doing scholarships. There are so many scholarships out there. There are pathways in that do not cost as much money and aren't as much barrier to entry as this. So don't be discouraged just because you see, this. There are so many ways in.
The story of Sarah Daniels is about more than just airplanes. It's about taking something you're afraid of, facing it, and discovering that it might lead you somewhere you never expected. And the most important part of Sarah's journey, she's not just exploring aviation, she's inviting others along to explore it with her. So if you want to follow along with Sarah's journey, see where she goes next, and maybe discover an airport you've never heard of, make sure you follow Sarahnautics. And who knows, maybe her next adventure will inspire you to take your first flight.